I'm telling you, man. Again, I was really excited to watch Colin Oliver, and he did not let me down. He did not disappoint. I was happy with the way he played. It wasn't perfect. I can see how PFF would say he didn't play a great game. I don't think he played as bad as the grade they gave him, but that's just my personal opinion. When I turned on Barryn Sorrell, I was expecting it to look worse than Colin Oliver. Not that Colin Oliver was bad. I thought he played good. It was his first career start, right? Actually his first career game in the National Football League, right? So now you get Barryn Sorrell's first career start. And when I turned on the tape, I was expecting to see a guy that probably held the point of attack pretty well. And I know he had some pressures and this and that. I don't know why I was kind of underselling what I was expecting, Tim. But boy, when I turned on the tape, I ended up liking Barryn Sorrell's tape better than Colin Oliver's, to be honest with you. I thought he played really strong at the point of attack. I thought he showed very, very good decision-making on when to jab out of his pass rush and go after the run. He seems quick, first step. He plays with power. You don't see anybody stonewall him at any point. He looks like a grown-ass man out there playing. And I got to be real, man. What I thought when I looked at Barryn Sorrell on tape was kind of looks like a young Preston Smith to me. That's what it felt like. It really did. Or maybe even a young Rashawn Gary. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a first-round caliber player that Rashawn Gary has been for so many years, right? Every single year, he's leading the Packers in pressures, leading the Packers in sacks. Rashawn Gary is. I don't know if Barryn Sorrell will play to that level, but he's kind of built from that same cut of the cloth, if that makes sense. So I was really excited about what we've seen. We're going to break down some of the numbers, show a little bit of the tape before we do. Do you get anything you want to add to Barryn Sorrell before we dive into it? Maybe just kind of your initial thoughts after you went back and watched it.
I would just say, to your point about Colin Oliver, the fact that Colin Oliver has that versatility factor, right? Obviously, I don't think we're going to put Barryn Sorrell at sackbacker anytime soon, right? Yeah, but the idea that Colin Oliver moves to a Mike or a Will or a Sam position in this defense is not completely out of the realm of possibility. So I feel like it's a good problem to have when you've got a guy like Colin Oliver who can play on the D line, or he can play in the middle. And then you've got a guy like Barryn Sorrell who, has no ceiling right now. And I'm with you, Clay. I think his tape looked a little better on Sunday for sure. Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because I would have expected Colin Oliver to drop into coverage more than Barryn Sorrell. Barryn Sorrell actually dropped into coverage, I believe, 3 snaps. And there was a couple of times that we showed the coffee house look, which is a double A mug. And then they brung those guys on the left side. And Colin Oliver, who was playing left defensive end, dropped out, what we would call 99 drop, right? So really, really impressed with that. So that kind of makes you think, okay, maybe they see him as more of an Enagbare type, because they love to do that with Enagbare over the last 2 years. But it was really, really interesting to see that. And you guys can see this right up in anything we do over at Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. It's the best way to support the show. And we also give out some extra content. It plugs you into our community over there. You got access to all the chats. You'll have access to our draft boards as we step into draft season, free agency, the whole 9 yards. So that's the best way to find that info. So let's talk about the numbers here, Tim. So with Barryn Sorrell, here is what I tallied up. And as always, guys, in the chat, if I missed something or something you disagree with, throw it in the chat. Okay, let us know. Barryn Sorrell, first career start per NFL Pro. He played 51 snaps. He had 24 pass rushes, 24 run snaps, and 3 coverage snaps, okay? So let's talk about the pass rushes. Tim, he had 3 quarterback pressures and 1 sack. And I think his pressure percentage, I want to say it came to like 12%, something like that. Yeah. Solid number. Anything above 10%, solid number. But still, only 24 rushes, 3 pressures, and a sack. Pretty good day at the office rushing the quarterback, man.
I'm going to take that all day. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but 24 run snaps, 4 stops in the run game. I thought he looked really good in the run fit as well. You're seeing a guy in his first start making a difference right away. And that's why I said no ceiling on Barryn Sorrell. Sky is the limit.
Yeah, definitely. So that's his pass rush. Let's talk about his run snaps. Tim, I was more impressed with his run defense than his pass defense. And I immediately found myself thinking, I could see us moving on from Gary next year, and Barryn Sorrell can play very similarly to Gary against the run. It really felt like that. He had 24 run snaps and had 4 stops. So he had a better run stop percentage than he did quarterback pressure percentage. Now, it was only by 1. And again, 51 snaps is a pretty good, healthy sample size in one game. Most of the time, these backup edge rushers, these backup pass rushers, and even defensive linemen on the interior, they don't play near 51 snaps. It's usually 10 snaps, 15 snaps, 18 snaps, right? So it's a pretty good sample size. But I was really impressed with his run defense. Again, we'll show the tape here in just a second. We got like 4 or 5 plays we'll show. But did that impress you? Because it really did kind of catch me off guard when I went back and watched the end zone cam, just how effective he was against the run.
No, it did. It impressed me a lot. And, we saw that on Sunday during the game. And his ability to kind of maintain gap integrity and then get off the block and still make a play on the ball carrier. We've seen that in the run fits. A guy that refuses to be blocked, which is awesome for a rookie in his first start. And the piss is hot with that one. We'll just say the piss is definitely hot with Mr. Sorrell.
Yeah. Jason Watt says, where has he been all season? Was he injured? He might have got a little banged up, but he was healthy most of the year, if not the entire year, Jason. The problem was there was other guys starting over him. Now, we're singing high praises of Barryn Sorrell. I was impressed with his start against Minnesota. However, when you look at it on the season, I'm pretty sure NFL Pro had him at a 9% pressure rate. So even though he played good Sunday against Minnesota, to put that up against Rashawn Gary's pressure rate, Rashawn Gary was at 12.5%. Okay. Rashawn Gary is, outside of Micah, leads the team in sacks. Rashawn Gary led all the edge defenders in run stops as well and run stop percentage. Okay. So if you were to tally up Barryn Sorrell's run stop rate and pressure rate along with sack rate, Gary was significantly better than Sorrell this year. Okay. And again, Sorrell didn't have, a whole bunch of snaps. Hell, Gary didn't either. They did that heavy rotation like they always do, other than Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons playing 85, 90% of the snaps. However, where's Micah Parsons at right now, guys? He's on injured reserve.
He's in the training room, getting back early. We're already ahead of schedule.
So when people get mad about and not that Jason's not doing this at all. He's just simply asking, where has Barryn Sorrell been this year?
Yeah.
When people get upset that Gary isn't playing more snaps, we paying him a lot of money. Why ain't he playing more snaps? Or why ain't this guy playing more snaps? This and that. We highlighted over the last 2 seasons how these guys stay healthier than your Max Crosby's, your TJ Watts, right? Because they're not playing as large of a percentage of the snaps, right?
Like Emilio says, hockey line rotation, right?
It's a real thing.
Yep.
Absolutely, man. It's a real thing for sure. So 3 coverage snaps, like we said, a little bit of fire zone blitzing, coffee house mug, bringing those guys on the pressure and dropping him back into coverage. I think I counted 3 coverage snaps there. Now, in terms of alignment, we always talk about technique, right? If you'll grab that graphic for me, Tim, and throw it up. When you hear us talk about technique on the defensive line, it's our way of relaying information to you guys rather than just saying he played D tackle or he played left end, right? We're letting you know exactly where they line up in terms of technique. So the even numbers, when you're talking technique, if you hear us say a 2 tech or a 0 or a 4 or a 6, that means they're lined up directly over the head of an offensive lineman or a tight end, okay? And specifically, you start in the middle and you work your way out. Right over the center playing nose tackle is a 0 tech, okay? If you play directly over the guard, that's a 2 tech. If you play directly over the tackles, that's a 4 tech. Directly over a tight end, that is a 6 tech, okay? Now, if you play out wide, that's what we call a wide 9. If there's a tight end on that side of the field and you're on the outside shoulder, they call it a 7 tech, okay? And some people, they call it a little bit different. This is kind of what I've always known globally as the techniques. Now, in between are the odd numbers. So if you play in the A gap on either side, that's a 1 tech. If you play in the B gap, that's a 3 tech. If you play in the C gap, that's a 5 tech, so on and so forth. So where it gets a little bit specific is if you're ever playing the inside shoulder. Now you're splitting hairs, right? But it's important to coaches, I promise you. If you're playing the inside shoulder of an offensive lineman, you now throw an I in there. So, for example, if you're playing the inside shoulder of a guard, that's a 2I. If you're playing the inside shoulder of a tackle, that's a 4I. The inside shoulder of the tight end, that is a 6I, okay? It's just 6 inside, 4 inside. That's how I've always...
Also called a shade, right? Depending on who you're with.
And some people look at that a little bit different, Tim. Most of the time, what I've always heard, and I think this is pretty universal, Coach Lynn, you correct me if you guys do it different. Shade is when you're playing slightly on the inside shoulder of the center, either side. Okay, that's what they refer to as shade
So
technique.
closer to a 1. Yeah.
Yes, right. You're not really playing zero tech, you're playing shade. So they don't call it zero eye. I've always heard it called shade. Okay. So shade left, shade right from the defense's perspective. So that's it. You can drop that down now. Thank you. And I wanted to explain that to anybody new here that may not know that, because here are the alignments on the plays that we're going to show that Barryn Sorrell kind of flashed on. All right. We're going to show you the 4 stops. We're going to show you the sack. We're going to show you the 3 quarterback pressures, that type of stuff. Okay. So with that being said, 3 coverage snaps. We got that down. Here are the below alignments. He lined up in the 5 tech one time. He lined up in the 4 eye once. He lined up in the 4 directly over the offensive lineman one time, but he played 9 tech 4 different times. And I want to point that out because you've seen a lot, not just the plays we're going to show you, but throughout the day, he would play a little 3 tech. He would play a little 4 eye, right? And that tells me they're looking at him maybe more like an LVN. Remember how LVN in the cheetah package, they would put LVN as the 3 tech or the 4 eye, right?
Yeah.
It looks like that Barryn Sorrell is the backup 4 eye in the cheetah. And if you guys know what the cheetah package is, it's basically we're putting in 3 pass rushers, 3 edge defenders, and only 1 defensive tackle, rather than our standard nickel 4-2-5 with 2 defensive tackles and 2 edge defenders. Okay, so the cheetah is kind of like the old school NASCAR package. The NASCAR package, they would put 4 pass rushers and 4 edge defenders in, right? Or maybe a hybrid player here or there, and you're trying to speed rush the quarterback, right? You're not worried about the run. You're not worried about the beef in the middle. They would call that a NASCAR package. This is called a cheetah package, where it's kind of a hybrid between a NASCAR and your traditional nickel 4-2-5. So let's talk about the plays that we lined up here. The first one you'll see here, Tim, what's he playing? Let's count it off from the center. If you can see my cursor here, 0, 2, 4. I would call that a 4 eye. Notice how he's not completely splitting the tackle or the tight end. Actually, we would call this a 5 tech. I apologize. He's on the outside shoulder of the tackle. We would call this a 5. So this is the 1-5 tech rep. Okay, let's watch the tape. So again, look at engage now. First of all, being held like
fighting through a hold. Look at him.
Yes, absolutely. And still gets the pressure, even though the ball comes out and it's completed. Again, a big no call on that hold. Let's watch it one more time. Again, using the hands, leverage.
Oh, yeah, that's a textbook hold for sure.
Yeah. Tackled him to the ground. Typically, when they take you to the ground like that, they will call it. So on that specific play, what you have is our boy Barryn Sorrell playing a 5 tech. Now, this one, let's count it off, right? 0, 2, 4 inside. That's a 4 eye look, right? So he's playing 4 eye here. Let's roll the tape. Let's actually go half speed so we can actually enjoy it here. So on the 4 eye look, right? Watch him wash across. No hesitation at all, running the quarterback down the opposite side of the field. So, and you look at this and go, okay, is this some kind of stunt, Clayton? It looks like a torch stunt, but also notice Brinson is playing a touch spy. See how he's not really going after the quarterback? He's kind of hovering there in the middle, and then Barryn Sorrell goes and gets the pressure. 4 eye all the way across the field. You've seen him run down. Granted, it was Max Brosmer, I'm pretty sure, or maybe I think that was Max.
That was McCarthy. I think
is that McCarthy? Okay, yeah. So that's pretty impressive. McCarthy is a pretty mobile quarterback, right?
Yep.
For Barryn Sorrell to run him down like that was pretty impressive.
I think it's a highlight to the athleticism for 99 right there. You know, regardless of what we're looking, his eyes are on the quarterback. You know, not getting washed out of the play, and then the athleticism takes him, you know, to the boundary with the quarterback. You know, these are what we talk about when we talk about guys flashing on tape in a game that didn't really mean anything. You see guys like Barryn Sorrell flashing like this, it gives you hope for the future.
Right. And now this is one that I labeled as a 9. Now you'll notice they've got a nasty split with the receiver here with Naylor, and he's not really playing the tight end position, right? He's kind of playing that wing area, but I would just call it a 9 tech. He's lined up pretty far outside. Let's watch him work. All right, run and play. Look at him jab in, Tim. That's a good run rep. You see what I'm saying with the run defense, man?
Yep.
Really impressed me with how he played the run. Let's go half here.
I think this might have been the play when I shot the text to the group chat, and I was like, man, Sorrell is flashing in the run fit. This was one of them that really got my attention in this game. Love to see it.
And again, watch him. He's kind of jumping inside, no hesitation, quick burst, great tackle for him right there too.
Yep. And a guy refusing to be blocked. Oh, you want to engage? Get off me.
Yeah.
I'm going to the ball. You
He,
know.
he works really good with his hands, man. His hands are really, really impressive for sure. So
Yep.
that's the big thing that sticks out to me. His hands, and when he engages, his feet never stop moving. He just drives. He's got a motor on him for sure.
Kind of reminds you of someone else we're familiar with in Green Bay.
It does, don't it?
Dare I say, Mr. Parsons?
Man, Micah is just it's always amazing to me. Like when I look at Barryn Sorrell, I can understand how he keeps his legs moving because he's got such a strong, but he's just a big dude. Micah's not that big. And I'm like, he should not be able to run through 600 pounds of blocking like the way he does. But his just legs never stop. He just got, I don't know if he's got country strength or what, but Micah he's fun to watch. He really is.
What's the old saying? If you can't be stronger, be faster, right?
Yeah.
Can't be faster, be stronger. Love
it's
it.
still wild to think that he runs a 4.340. That's just insane. So next rep here for Barryn Sorrell, let's count it off, right? 0, 2, 4. So this is going to be a 4-tech rep, all right? And we got it at 50, so we're good. Let's watch him work, see if it's a run or a pass. All right, ball snap. They're going to hand it off. Look at him fight through that block. He got, oh boy. And I don't know if is that Darasol that he just beat like a drum, Tim? I think it might be. Watch this.
67?
Yeah. No, so 74.
74, yeah.
And typically your guards, man, they're pretty good in the run, right? Watch him. Get off me, little boy. Oh.
See, that's what I talk about. It's like the hands and feet working together, right? It's like an engagement and then refusing to be blocked. And then, you know, my feet are doing what my hands aren't doing. My hands are doing what my feet aren't doing. And I'm going to get to the ball.
Yeah. Again, this is what I was most impressed with was his run defensive snaps. I see the super chat there. Thank you, Pack Attack. We're going to hit it for you in just a minute when we wrap up, man. We appreciate you. Again, so just that's what I mean by his run tape really, really jumped off the screen to me, man. It was pretty impressive for sure. I wasn't expecting that. All right, next rep here. Now, Tim, we got him in a 0, 2, 4. He's directly over the tight end. That's what we would call a 6-tech. I called it a 9 because I want you guys to be aware of when I feel like he would have been playing a 9-tech if there's not a tight end there. Okay, that's why I listed it as a 9. Technically, a 6 technique right over top of the tackle or over the tight end. Let's watch him work. So look at him. That's why it's a 9. Okay, so it's a 6. And see, last second shifts outside to a 9. And just look at him hovering. And then going to have a motor coming back across, fight through a block, make the tackle.
You see how he maintains the edge too, in case it was an option or a boot.
Yep.
If McCarthy would have rolled out, he would have been sacked for sure.
Cover your assignment. And once your assignment is no longer a threat, you go as hard as you can to the ball, right? Great job. Great technique for sure.
Absolutely. And again, a rookie. This is not a second, third, or fourth year guy. This is a rookie.
Yeah, definitely. That's it kind of feels like he's a veteran, right? Like we forget that he's a rookie for sure.
I feel like we're talking about him kind of like we were talking about Edge Coop last year, right? We said a lot of the same things, a guy that doesn't really look like a rookie out there.
Right. All right, next snap. This is going to be a wide 9 look. Obviously, he's beyond the outside shoulder of a flexed out tight end. That's what we mean by wide 9. He's way out here, right? Ball snapped out of the gun, and it's going to be a pass. Look at him work off the edge. Fight, bang, finishes. That should have been a 3-4 yard gain by the quarterback. Instead, it's tallied as a sack.
Not 1, but 2 blocks that he got off of, right?
Yep. So just a good little, it's not like that was a quick win pressure or anything like that with a sack. It's just doing your assignment, gets the chip, fights through it, eyes on the quarterback, knows exactly where the ball's at. Here's a great job. Just showing instinct there. And again, that's more of like go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just going to say, like you said, like sees the chip coming. That's instinct, right? He almost steps back like, oh, you're going to chip me? I'll let you chip me. And I'm out of here. And
to me, that was like more of a run defensive rep, right? The way he played it, but nonetheless, it counted as a sack. I'm pretty sure that went down as a sack, if I remember right. So here we are in a wide 9 again. All right, let's watch him work off the edge, wide 9. A little motion there from the jet sweep motion. And look at our boy. Notice how he stayed to the edge. Make sure there's no boot or anything, right? Just like the previous play or 2 plays ago. And then on the ball, finishing the tackle, another stop in the run game, man.
You're right about that tackle for him too. That's something you stress with young players. And, honestly, by the time you're at the NFL level, you should have tackling for him down, but it's refreshing to see him so fundamentally sound.
Yeah, completely agree. And again, it'd be real easy to try to blow him up. No, Let's get at the waistline, wrap up the knees, slide down to the ankles, just make the freaking tackle. Nothing flashy. You don't have to blow the ball carrier up every play because that's how you miss tackles, right? So I thought he was fundamentally sound. And again, we kind of already talked about it numerous times. When it comes to Barryn Sorrell, I watch his tape and I don't think this guy's a rookie. He looks like he's a veteran. Now, again, like Greg Cosell said about Jordan Love, and he says about every other player in the league, especially the young players that are kind of establishing themselves, he has talent. You see the power. You see the quick bursts. You see he plays with leverage. You see he plays his scheme. He plays within his responsibilities of the run fit. He's protecting against the boot, burst to the ball, all these things. Are you going to be that player every single day, every single week, every single month of every single year? You're going to be that consistent player. Knowing his background a little bit and hearing his draft story and hearing, his parents and the upbringing, and I don't think we're going to have a problem with that. I think this dude is going to be all about football in Green Bay. He came to the draft on his dime, and lo and behold, he gets picked by the hometown Packers while he's there, just wanting to experience the draft. You talk about, and Emilio's mentioned this several times, when you go into the draft season, the one thing it's so hard to determine is, does a person really love football? Do they truly love the game? If you could guarantee yourself that information, that takes a lot of people off of the draft board. If he doesn't really love the game, you don't want him on your football team. Barryn Sorrell loves the game of football, man.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Wasn't it cool to be sitting in the stands when he got drafted? That was so awesome, man.
It was so awesome. And I wish I'd thought about it. I'd pull that tweet up. We actually recorded live from in the bowl, Lambeau Field, when they drafted Barryn Sorrell. And it was just the coolest environment, sitting there with other Packer fans, watching it take place. It's going to be awesome if he ends up being in the Packer Hall of Fame, by the end of his career. Just know we watched him get drafted. We watched his entire career. And, it's going to be cool. So there you go, guys. Barryn Sorrell, his first start in the books. I was impressed. I thought he played really well. If I had to grade him out and say, okay, how did he play overall? I'd probably give him a B. I think I said Colin Oliver would be a B-. I gave Barryn Sorrell a B. That's what I would give him on a letter grade there. So really, really impressed. Let us know in the comments. You're watching this video back later. How do you feel about Barryn Sorrell's first career start for the Green Bay Packers? Did he impress you? Maybe not so much. Is there another player you'd rather see him in the lineup rather than Barryn Sorrell? Make sure you let us know in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live. All right, last topic, Tim. We'll try not to spend too much time on it. I got rapid fire, 4 different tweets to hit here. Big news broke today across the National Football League. Is one of the longest tenured. I think he's been in Baltimore for 18 years. And that's John Harbaugh. Breaking news, fired from the Baltimore Ravens. Ian Rappaport put the tweet out. The Ravens and longtime decorated head coach John Harbaugh are parting ways after days of discussion, per the insiders. Major decision in Baltimore.
Hold on, I'm checking my watch, Clayton. Looks like about 5 minutes before he's hired somewhere else.
Yes. Completely agree. This dude he's going to have a head coaching job somewhere next year. This is a Super Bowl winning coach, right? Had a lot of success at the NFL level. You could tell his players respect the hell out of him, right? And I already see people in the chat throwing like, Daryl saying Texas native. Or maybe he's talking about Barryn Sorrell.
He's talking about Barryn Sorrell, baby.
Yeah, that's a Texas guy, yeah. Right here, J. Cole says, I said the Raiders. So does he kind of looks like, don't he look like a Raider, Tim? Couldn't you just see him throwing a Raider in there?
Why not? They already flipped the coin for the 5th time in the last 6 years with veteran head coaches that haven't worked out. Maybe Harbaugh is the answer in Vegas. You never know.
Yeah.
Vegas or Miami, you never know. Mr. McDaniel could be on the hot seat. You never know.
Chris the Casual says, hire him immediately for defense coach. If he did not get a head coaching job, I don't say I love Rich Bisaccia. You guys know I'm not a fire Rich Bisaccia guy. But this dude right here, this is a special teams coach at the core. If he didn't get a head coaching job offer, absolutely bring him in as a special teams coordinator. Tim, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that's happening, right?
Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not, right? And I think if you're a guy like Harbaugh, you're looking for that, right? I'm either going to be, a head coach somewhere, or I'm just going to hang it up and retire, right?
Yeah. And here's the other thing: if he does get a head coaching offer, and he's like, I don't want to do that, he may go coach with his brother, right? That could happen out in LA with the Chargers. I wouldn't put that past them, right? Make him his assistant head coach. And that would be a dream come true for those two brothers. So, you know what? Maybe he takes a year off. That happens a lot too. Maybe sometimes coaches go, I don't want a head coaching job right now. It's possible.
You saw that with Big Mike. Big Mike did the same thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, I just threw a tweet out there. Jeff Hafley was reported to be likely candidate for the Giants job. This is seemingly good news for Packers fans. As Adam Schefter tweeted out, John Harbaugh is expected to emerge as the favorite for the head coaching job of the New York Football Giants. Harbaugh will be in demand for many teams, not just the Giants. This would be great news if the Giants threw the book at Harbaugh, Tim, because now, to me, the Giants is that job that I could see maybe Jeff Hafley taking a little bit less money in terms of other head coaching job offers because he's from that area. He's from the Jersey area, if I remember correctly, right? Hafley is.
Right.
So that was the job that was kind of linked to Hafley, and that's what I meant by how this could affect Jeff Hafley's decision moving forward, because if now he leapfrogs Hafley and other coaches as the top candidate for the Giants, maybe that's the domino we needed to fall to keep Hafley in Green Bay. Although I think we would all agree Hafley isn't as hot a commodity as he was, early in the season with the defensive struggles here recently, but still, he gets an interview. He's going to crush that interview, and all bets are off, right? So what do you think about that, man, and how that kind of ties together with Hafley?
I just think with Coach Harbaugh, he's a proven head coach in the National Football League. And no disrespect to Coach Haf, but he's not. His head coaching experience is at Boston College. It's not in the NFL level. He's proven that he can be a coordinator at the NFL level. And to your point, I'm sure Coach Haf will get more than a handful of interviews for a head coaching vacancy in this league. But I do think that for Packer fans, that's good news. Hopefully the Giants hire John Harbaugh tomorrow as their head coach. And, that's one team we can check off the list for potential suitors for Jeff Hafley. I would think that would be the one thing that might separate those two, is just Harbaugh's record as a head coach in the league and the fact that Hafley has not been the head coach yet in the NFL.
Yeah, and Bates says, yes, Haf is a Jersey fella, so he did confirm that. Thank you so much, Bates. Coach Lynn said in the chat, I think we will get Hafley back. If I had to bet the farm on it, Coach, whether Hafley leaves or stays in Green Bay, I'm with you. I think Hafley's staying in Green Bay. That being said, I do think there's a slight chance that he's going to get interviews. I do believe that'll happen. He'll get coaching interviews, and he's going to crush those interviews. Now, they'll also look at what he's done with Green Bay's defense and go, they took kind of a step back this year. This guy's a hotter commodity here. You got a Super Bowl winning head coach in John Harbaugh. B-Flow is going to probably interview for a lot of teams as well. The defense coordinator in Minnesota. You've got the defense in Houston has been crushing. Their DC, right? Same thing with the Chargers. I think theirs is going to get Vance Joseph in Denver.
Have we heard anything about Raheem Morris? Has he been interviewing?
That's another thing. Raheem Morris was fired in Tampa, right? And they immediately said, they asked Matt LaFleur earlier today, have you been in contact with Raheem? You could tell he didn't want to say it, but he went, yeah, I've talked to him. And they said, is there a chance you bring him in? He said, we haven't had those discussions. So he kind of said it without saying it, but did he really say it? Or what did he say? So I wouldn't be surprised if you bring him in as an extra set of eyes throughout the playoffs, right? That would be a good move for sure. I'll tell you, this guy, though, could you imagine if Matt reached out to John Harbaugh and said, how much money would it take to have you come in and work with Rich Bisaccia on our special teams throughout the playoffs?
Here's the guy.
Boy, there you go. Well, what if somebody offers him a head coaching job before then? That could happen. But what if they didn't? What if they interview him and said, okay, let's let the smoke settle. Let's see what candidates are available. Why not having John Harbaugh come in throughout the playoffs?
Unless, like you said, the opportunity to coach with his brother, right? Be an assistant head coach or a coordinator. Yep.
Yeah. And his brother's still in the playoffs. They could win a ring together, so to speak, right? So I just love this time of year, man. The head coaching carousel, when that gets cranked up, both in college and the pros, it's just an exciting time. And it's really, really fun to see how the NFL is going to shape moving forward. So just a couple other tweets here from that. Adam Schefter tweeted out, in the first 45 minutes after John Harbaugh was fired this afternoon, Tim, this is what you were talking about. His agent, Brian Harlan, said he received calls from 7 NFL teams expressing interest in his client. Their current currently are 7 NFL head coaching openings, including Baltimore's. You do the math, Tim.
Not 1, but not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7. Good Lord.
Right. Yeah. So again, man, he's going to have a head coaching job.
Yeah.
He is. Now,
I guess
will it happen?
Stop entertaining the other scenarios, right? It's either head coach or he's hanging it up.
Yeah. The fact that allegedly all 7 openings for NFL coaching jobs probably reached out to him tells me they want to hire him sooner rather than later, right? You've probably got 3 of the 7 that's willing to hire him right now. That might deter from the aforementioned him being maybe just an extra set of eyes in house somewhere, right? So he'll probably get a head coaching job and, hey, let's get started right now, right? Go ahead and start put your coaching staff together. And I imagine a lot of those guys will come over from Baltimore with him, I would imagine.
See, that's the other end of the spectrum we haven't talked about, right? It's not just Harbaugh as a coaching candidate, but the staff that he's going to bring with him potentially.
Yeah. And here's a little bit more specifically some of the openings, right? Let's see if all 7 are there. They are. So Adam Schefter tweeted out, updated NFL landscape. Here are the head coaching openings, right? Ravens, Giants, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders. Okay. Again, Ravens, Giants, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders.
The Raiders.
United Bates says Morris has an interview scheduled with Tennessee this week. So Raheem Morris already getting a head coaching interview with the Tennessee Titans there. So
Jamie coming in hot with the info. I love it. Thank you, Bates.
Always. And then you got the GM openings, Tim. Dolphins and the Falcons. And John Eric Sullivan, I think, was already seeked out by either the Dolphins or the Falcons, maybe both. One of those 2 teams at a minimum have already reached out to one of our top executives within Goody's staff. John Eric Sullivan got multiple job interviews last year. Obviously, didn't get a job there in terms of general manager. He stayed with Green Bay, but he's kind of Goody's right-hand man, so to speak, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. But, man, it's a fun time of year, Tim. We got the coaching carousel, the GM carousel cranking up. Just thought it'd be important to kind of hit that John Harbaugh news that came down the pike. And again, there's some fans that go, and you think Matt LaFleur ain't on the chopping block? Listen, John Harbaugh's a great coach. John Harbaugh is 36th all time with a 614 winning percentage. Matt LaFleur is 16th at 654. Now, John Harbaugh won a ring. Got it. Valid point there. When was the last time he won the Super Bowl? Can somebody tell me? I don't even know. It's been quite some time, though, right? If I remember.
I'm sure Raiders fans were asking the same question about Pete Carroll as well as their head coach.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn says in the chat, yeah, I'm worried about John Sullivan. Yeah, I think that's the thing too, though, Coach, is like he put together a playoff, or he helped put together another playoff team with the Packers with the youngest roster in the league, right? But I don't think people see the Packers right now as like, wow, these guys are dominant, right? I imagine they're probably going to teams like maybe the Patriots, maybe the Rams, maybe the Seahawks, probably looking to grab someone within the Seahawks organization, which shout out to Schneider, man. Schneider, who came up under Ted Thompson and obviously is the general manager for Seattle. Dude's done a hell of a job in Seattle, man. They won multiple Super Bowls under him, right? And now they flipped that right back around again, and they're going to be competing for another Super Bowl here throughout the playoffs. We'll see how long they last. But, yeah, it's really, really interesting to kind of see everything unfold and where people are going to end up for sure. I am a little worried about John Eric Sullivan too, Coach, but I will try to remove my Packers bias. I think I would have other teams' executives in mind before John Eric Sullivan, just how the Packers have struggled a little bit with depth, right? And not that he wouldn't take a different approach, even though, we've seen Schneider do totally different things than what Ted Thompson done when he went to Seattle, right? So everybody's kind of their
that would be the only point in bringing a guy like that in, right? Is if you want some kind of change, right? If you want it to be the same, then you're probably going to look elsewhere.
Yeah. J. Cole in the chat said, I'm not going to lie, I had that thought for a minute, Clayton. I was surprised Baltimore fired him. Yeah, it was a little bit, I don't know, man.
That was kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it was because Lamar walked off the field and threw his stuff at the Baltimore logo and was frustrated? Yeah,
right. Yeah, it could have been, and maybe that's the other thing is they just paid Lamar all this money. Like he's under contract. I think his cap hit is like 60 or 70 million next year, something crazy. So it's like, okay, You've got your franchise quarterback, right? We've ponied up the guaranteed money for him. We feel like we've put a good product out there for you, and you didn't get the job done. You look at somebody like Baltimore, and I can see how it's like, okay, yeah, man, we got to get over the hump. You didn't even make the playoffs, right? And then you go to Matt LaFleur, and again, I hate to keep coming back to it, but it is what it is. That's why I hate it when we're the youngest team every year, because it's like that excuse is there, And again, it's like somebody said the other day, it's not an excuse, it's a reason. That's the best way to explain that. Like, it's not an excuse. Matt LaFleur isn't going, but guys, I can't win because we're young. He never says that, right? He's saying no excuses. We need to get the job done. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that how hard it is to win a freaking Super Bowl when you got the youngest roster in the league. Like I said, you ain't got to be the third oldest, but let's add a little bit of veteran, a little bit more veteran into this team and
sprinkle them in a little bit here and there.
Yeah, right. Raise us rather than be the youngest team in the league, let's go to the fifth youngest team. Right.
We talked about that preseason. We were looking for that Drew Dahlman signing at center. I feel like that might have made an impact on our O-line play this year, I think.
Yeah, and I've seen a little bit of this on X as well, Packer Doug. Packer Doug says, the scuttlebutt is that Lamar had the ear of management and had issues with Harbaugh. I don't know. I've seen those rumors too. I'm with you. I don't know if there's any, validity to that, but I will say this. Typically when a coach gets let go like that and they keep the quarterback, I mean, think about what happened in Miami. They let the general manager go, right? Actually, no, it was B-Flow. It was their head coach, Brian Flores. Yeah. They let him go because him and Tua had problems. Well, they chose the quarterback.
They brought in McDaniel and kept their GM. Yeah.
Now, why did they choose the quarterback? Because they have more guaranteed money tied up in him, and they thought he's the future. That's the more valuable commodity than the head coach, and that really hasn't worked out for Miami. Right now, Tua's been benched. That's another one, Tim, we got to keep an eye on. Will he be back with Miami? There's going to be probably a huge dead cap number with Tua, but is that someone that could saturate the market a little bit in terms of quarterback free agents that might drive the value down a little bit on Malik? If you had to choose, you had to give one of these two quarterbacks $40 million per year, would it be Malik Willis or Tua Tagovailoa? I think most people would say Malik, but I can also understand Tua earned that contract a couple years ago. It ain't
I
like
think if you ask Bama fans, they'd probably say,
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Right. And then the other thing with Tua is the concussion issue, right? Like that's a real issue there as well in terms of the future. So, crazy. Yeah, and Packer Doug points out that's wild. Lamar, near 30 years old, he's not getting any faster, right? If anything, he's going to start to slow down like we've seen Aaron. Now, Aaron was never as fast as Lamar. Don't take that the wrong way. But we've seen Aaron was able to evolve his game when he kind of lost the legs a little bit. Like, okay, now I'm going to manipulate the RPO game, his quick release, all that, which – man, how fun was it watching Aaron Rodgers the other night, man. Every time the defense let him down, every time special teams let him down, put the ball in A-Rod's hands, and he just took him right down the freaking field like a dog, dude. Did you see him embrace Mike Tomlin at the end where he said, man, thank you for bringing me here? And Tomlin said, hell, man, thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming, right?
Yeah. Absolutely awesome.
And great job by Aaron in that post-game interview with Melissa Stark, too. She was asking him about, retirement and all this stuff. And you could tell Aaron was trying to just soak that moment in. And I think what was telling, too, was when she asked him, how did it feel sitting there, watching Baltimore march down the field after you got your guys in the end zone? And Aaron was, typical Aaron Rodgers said, it sucked. It sucked to watch that, watch them get into range. But what a great moment, man. To see, Mr. AR12, a.k.a. AR8 for now, before he goes into the Hall of Fame as a Packer. I will die on that hill. He's going into Canton as a Packer. But I think it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I love what Doug says here, NFL moment of the year, Clay. It's just so cool seeing him smile, seeing A-Rod smile, man, for sure. Yep. This made me smile, Tim. I don't know if you've seen this soundbite. We'll wrap up with this, but did you see this from Mike Tomlin? He was asked in the post-game presser, right? He said, I'll kind of play the audio. Hopefully you can hear it well enough. But the question essentially was, what happened if he had made the kick? Talking about Baltimore's kicker making the kick, and now Tomlin's out. I think what they were alluding to, would you be fired? Would you be out in Pittsburgh? Would you retire? Listen to Mike Tomlin. And again, this is the guy, one of my favorite quotes from Mike Tomlin was he said, if you're race sensitive, you're a racist. And I love that quote. Yep. Because what he was saying is, if you see race, if you see skin color, no matter if you're trying to I don't like using this term, but people say the race card. If you're trying to use that for something, you're a racist as much as the person who is truly racist, right? I just love that he said that. If you're race sensitive, you're a racist. Why are we still looking at skin color, right? He has these little quotes, these little sayings that I'm just like, damn, I love that dude, man. I love the way he thinks, right? He's very witty. Listen to this one, guys. This took the cake for me. And if you can't hear it, I'll tell you what he says afterwards. Here we go.
Making that kick, season's over, comes to a screeching halt, and missing that kick and the winter going on.
You know how it is. If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. All right.
That was the end of the presser. We say aunt down here where I'm from, but he says, if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. Bro, Tim, it broke me up, man. I don't know. You got anything you want to add to that before we wrap? I don't know if I'm the only person that thought that was funny. I laughed out loud when he said it. My Steelers buddy, Worth, shout out to him. He's probably watching the show. He sent me the video of it. It was like, we were dying laughing, dude.
First of all, NFL royalty, Mike Tomlin, an absolute OG, a throwback to, the old school era, right? Took over for Bill Cowher and, has put together year upon year of excellent football there. In Pittsburgh. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about Coach Tomlin. Arguably one of my favorite head coaches that hasn't coached for the Green Bay Packers for sure. So a lot of respect for him and, respect for anybody in that position when you're, under that kind of limelight and scrutiny and, people are taking every word that you say and, running it through a fine tooth comb. Coach Tomlin doesn't give a damn. He's going to call it like it is. He's going to say, what's real. And I think that's probably why him and Aaron get along so well, right?
Yes.
We all know Aaron's cut from that same cloth. And really, you look across that Steelers organization, there's a lot of guys like that have that same attitude. So it made perfect sense for those guys to link up. And, nothing but respect for Coach Mike Tomlin, for sure.
Yeah, and the chat reacting to that. J. Cole said they're going to try to cancel him, LOL. Good luck with that, man. Coach Tomlin don't care, man. That's what I love about him. He's like, you believe what you want to believe, I'll believe what I want to believe.
Yes. Tomlin will tell him just like Tupac LaFleur. He'll be like,
sit your butt outside.
That's exactly right. Oh, man. So, and then we'll wrap it up with Donnie Burr's comment. He says the Packers will win Saturday. Let's go, Donnie.
Let's go.
Love to see it.
I love that attitude. Let's put that. Where's that picture of Ben Johnson's stupid ass? Where is it? Oh, here it is. That's what he's going to look like on Saturday night. Let's go. I love it.
Yeah, and he already said, he kind of called his shot. We probably should have played that clip, but he basically said they're planning on winning these next 4 or 5 games. They're going to win the damn Super Bowl. And it sounded to me like they're overlooking the Packers big time.
Yep,
so
big time. And what's Matt telling the boys? Matt's probably telling the boys, hey, 1-0. Let's go. Let's get down there. Let's get a dub. We'll worry about everything else after that. We're not going to get ahead of our skis here. We're going to focus on what's right in front of us. So go Pack, go. 24-21 Packers. I don't do score predictions, but I'm doing one right now.
There it is. There it is. Ari Ironminer says Steelers versus Packers Super Bowl, man. I'm holding out hope. When they missed that kick the other night, I posted that video on X and I just put Packers Steelers Super Bowl back on, baby.
Let's go. We've been saying that since training camp, right? Let's go.
We're a long way from it, Tim, and we got to, listen, man, it's a grind and this team's banged up and all the things that we've talked about. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I'm excited.
Telling me there's a chance.
That's it. That's all you need, man. You got a ticket to the dance. Let's go out there and dance, man. Let's cut a rug. So that being said, guys, that's it. We will be back tomorrow for PTA throughout the day. I should be able to do multiple streams tomorrow. So you'll be seeing us go live randomly. So make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live tomorrow. Also, if you're in here watching live right now, do us a big favor, man. Smash that like button. Spin those laces. We greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on X, go to YouTube, type in Packers Total Access, and sub to the channel there. I'm telling you, we appreciate you guys watching on X. We got a bunch of people, almost 400 people watching on X. However, you can't see the YouTube comments, right? And you can't comment on the YouTube comments. So if you're in YouTube, you can join the conversation in the YouTube chat, and it's a really, really cool dynamic. So make sure you guys are subbed to the channel that way as well. Tim, appreciate your time, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Clay. This was awesome.
All right, man. We'll see y'all tomorrow. My name's Clayton. That's Tim. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
Bye, guys.